It's always a great privilege to have unique couples with us on the program Growing Marriage. And this week, the honor is mine to have with me Geronimo and Lebo Nyamahango.
Yeah,
I am Victor Kaonga. I think I've tried to pronounce your names right. Am I right, Geronimo?
you'll get better.
I'll get better. I'm encouraged that I'll get better in the program Growing Marriage. So in the program, we have the opportunity to celebrate marriage, get to know who the people are, how they met. So let me begin with your level. When did you first hear this name, Geronimo?
I first heard his name when he came to our church in Pretoria at this time,
Okay.
and I struggled. And he was very determined to make sure I pronounce it properly, but I failed.
Okay. I thought you struggled meeting
No, I struggled with the name. It was very difficult.
him.
Yes, I have to.
Did you expect, did you see the proposal coming?
No, not at all. Um, he wasn't interested in me at that time, and I wasn't interested in him. We were just brothers in Christ, meeting in the church. Yeah.
Can you confirm you were not interested in her initially?
Actually, actually, my name is Geronimo.
Geronimo.
Mhm.
Yes.
Great. I
So
got it
as
right.
I still continue to insist that people get my name correctly.
Is she getting it correctly?
No, now she
Very
has
good.
mastered it. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, actually, when I moved to South Africa, that was 2010 from Swaziland. At that time, I lived in Swaziland, but I'm Mozambican.
Mhm.
So I moved for Bible college in South Africa. So I found that she was already in church, and she was already in Bible college. And then we actually, it was the same year that we started together, but she was a few months earlier than me.
Mhm.
So I heard her name for the first time, Label. What an interesting name. I even made a joke with my friend, like with my brother that I used to live with. Like, wow, imagine that name. That is very strange name, actually. Um, anyway, it was just kind of a joke.
Mm.
So, um, just yeah, to have those ideas in my mind, fun ideas. But I wasn't interested in her in the beginning. I even thought that maybe she would hook with my brother at some point. But I even told her later. So it's not something new.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a shock for her. So
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, because I was my eyes were set somewhere else at that time.
Mhm.
So but in the course of time, God changed things.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
So finally it happened.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. These two times. So I met him in 2010, and then the in 2012, boiling to May, he started showing interest. Like I could see that this person is doing things towards me that he doesn't do to anybody else.
Mm.
And at that time, I had just been harsh to another brother in the church, and I didn't like that I was harsh. So I called my friend. I say, I think I'm seeing something. I could be wrong. She was in another church. Can you come and see? So she came to my house to sleep over, and she observed, and she said, "You're right. He's interested." So that was in 2012 and May 1st.
She remembers even the day.
Yeah, that's when he decided we had evangelism, and during the finishing of evangelism, we'd come together to close in prayer, and we arrived first, him and me, and he just took the opportunity and went for it, and I wasn't interested, so I said no in the most polite way this time. I didn't want any aggression, and yeah, so he and then other brothers started arriving, so we cut into topics so nobody can see what's going on. And then later on he called me. We had the long call where I was just explaining and he was just questioning some other things, and yeah, it ended there. He didn't want to create anything that would create awkwardness also, and I also didn't want that. So we all both accepted that, okay, that's it, you know. But a year later,
Hmm.
2013, right around the same time, here we are at evangelism again. And then he walks by. I don't even remember how we had a park where we used to evangelize, and he walks by, and somehow he was like, I saw a different man, you know. It was like, hey, here's a
Was it like an
brother, you know.
epiphany?
And immediately I knew that was God.
Okay.
I knew that was God because I wasn't interested in him. And I even said, God, no, 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 no. You know what happened last year? It can't be you. No, no, no. You can't do this to me. I mean, I can't go back and say, hey, you know, I've changed my mind. It doesn't work that way. And I think this is you, but I'm not really sure it's you. So it was a lot of wrestle with God. A lot of wrestle. And he had no idea what was going on in my head.
Was someone seeing you in between that year?
Not at all. I was at a time when I had just come out of the world before he came in, and I had seen I had come to a point where I realized that I make a very bad decision when it comes to men. So the next one is going to have to be God. So I was in Bible college. I was just focused. There would be liking of somebody here and there, but I wasn't going to go forward because it was just that God has to do something from here. I'm not going to do anything anymore. So
So fast forward, for how long have you been married, or which year?
Now we just celebrated our 10th year anniversary. Yeah, so we've been married from 2015 until now and beyond. We believe God for that.
Thank you. So as you look back, any lessons that you've picked or principles that you've used that have brought you this far?
There are many.
Yes,
There are
if you
many.
just share three.
Uh, First, I would say marriage is not what you may think of or expect in the two ways. All right. One way is that it's not as glamorous as you may think or easy as you may think,
Mm.
but also it's actually challenging. It's a very challenging. It's a place for growth. You know, it's a place for learning. You know how to love, and you'll soon discover that you don't love as you think as you thought you love. You don't know how to love as you thought you know. So on the other hand, uh, a marriage is a blessing that you could ever never have imagined. You know, it is so amazing to be married. You know, when you're married to the right person, you know, and learning to apply the simple principles that are given by God, a marriage is like a blessing, and it's a blessed thing to be married. You know, it's so much full of joy. You know, so in that way, you may never ever expect that in such a way that you may experience. You know, you may desire to have a beautiful marriage, but it always will surpass the experience when you are married to the right person.
Any more lessons maybe from your level?
um first of all, I would say when I got married, somebody had mentioned before that you never know how selfish you are until you're married.
Yeah.
Like marriage just magnifies. Like it's like I left this here and I want it here, especially when you have been single for a long time. You have
Yeah.
established a way that you want things to be. And when somebody comes at first, it's like cute, but with time, it's like, why can't he just put it here? Because I left it here, you know. But
Mm.
the more I'm in it, is the more I learn that the relationship is better than the person's behavior.
Yeah.
And when you look past the person's behavior and you make the relationship a priority, then things will work out better. That is the priority. The
Yeah.
behaviors, those are small things that you can either tolerate or gently communicate, because sometimes it's a matter of telling that maybe they are not aware that that is offending you.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe they are aware, but they don't know to what extent. So sometimes you have to say, okay, this is small. I can tolerate this, but no, this really drives me to a wrong place. So I can't. We need to change that. So yeah, I'd say communication. Yes, yes,
Anything
definitely.
else?
I would also say it has a lot to do with deciding to put the other person first. That one is a tough one. It's really, really tough one. But when you look at even our model, like Jesus Christ, he put himself after the church, like he literally laid himself down for the church. And when you try to do that, like, you know what, I prefer things this way,
Yeah.
but it's okay. Don't
Yeah.
take myself so seriously. It's okay. So it's not where I wanted to be. Big deal. Just let it go, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, not to take ourselves too seriously. I'm still learning that. It's a tough one for me because I'm mostly the perfectionist type of person. So to lighten up, take yourself easy. It's hard. I'm still at the initial stages of it. But the one last one that I have to put is gratitude.
Mm.
That one is a big one. God is still working on me. Thankful to God first, and then thankful for the other person. Like you'll be surprised that when you put in order, I'm a writing person, so when you write the good thing that the other person has brought to your life and are doing, and you put them against the whatever is irritating you, you'll be surprised at how big the things they do are, and the things that those ones don't matter. It's just small things. Like
Yeah.
that one is very big.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're talking about maybe having a list of the positives
Yes.
and then the negative areas.
Yeah.
Negatives is more on me. Like
More on you.
like if whenever I feel like, if I can say righteous, let me say, if I feel super, how can he do that? I wouldn't do that. Let me put a list of the things bad that I do
Yeah.
and put the things good that he does and put it together. Then you'll shrink very quickly.
You wanted to comment.
Not necessarily, but yeah, there is something that as you get married, you always think I can do better on this. I can actually love than my parents did. I can be better, but soon enough you realize that you're not good than your parents. It's a place for learning. I emphasize again, it's a platform where God molds us and shapes us into a new being. And it's great if you enter in a marriage while having learned some theoretical lessons. But if you just enter just like that, it's going to kill you. Yeah.
Talking about lessons over the time level as a wife to Geronimo, is there something that you say I should have done better in the years gone?
Yes,
Just one thing.
speaking about taking myself seriously and starting to laugh a bit about life. I think when I came in, I was so rigorous about everything. So I could even say legalistic about how everything has to be, And now when I look back, I'm like, that wasn't worth sweating about. I mean, that is such a small thing. Now, yeah, so definitely I look back and I'm like, I should have came in relaxed. I think I came in too tightly. Let's do this marriage thing.
So
Yeah.
in how you came through to your husband, is there something that you say I should have done better in
Yes.
this way to
Yes.
Geronimo?
Yes, definitely. I would give an example, like for example, even when we do maybe address like the hard conversations, I would tend to scream. Yes, and and he is the most calm person ever. Intentionally, yeah, he intentionally decided to be that way. So when I look back, I'm like, but it was the only thing I knew. Or I thought if I make noise, you'll hear, but learning through the the trainings that we've been, that you don't have to make noise to be heard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the person just sees your passion but misses the principle that you're trying to bring about. So I definitely.
Can you confirm?
Of course. I used to complain about it, you know. Yeah, hey, please. I know that you are hurt, you know,
Yeah.
but you don't shout like you're talking to a baby or to a child, you know. You know, we need respect, mutual respect, you know. So she was away, but as she said, that's all she knew. So it took a time for learning, and now it's amazing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So
How about you, as a husband to level? Is there something that you say, hey, as I look back, I should have been a better husband, maybe in this area?
yes, I think I should have uh, I should have known that you need to ask somebody what they think about certain things, because we come from two different cultural backgrounds, from two different countries. This is international marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Mozambique and South
Now Lesotho.
Oh, Lesotho.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So our world view is completely different. So I came into marriage very chilled. I think that everything we understand each other, you know, and I think we can have fun. We can have jokes here and there, and sometimes my jokes would hurt her unintentionally. So I could have, if I could rewind the time, I could have I would take my time to learn exactly how she thinks and how things should be done better for her to feel good and be happy and feel loved. So I would have taken that lesson seriously, but I didn't, because I didn't know. I thought we are on the same page.
So just to be clear, who comes from Lesotho?
She comes from Lesotho.
You come from Lesotho.
Yeah, I'm Mozambique.
You're Mozambique.
Yeah.
Did you pay some cows?
Oh yes.
How many?
In a financial form.
Okay, but that was
Yeah.
equivalent to how many?
Well, when we got married, which is equal to being right now, we both were aware that we're missionaries. And in our ministry, a missionary is completely independent. The church can help if they can, but because it's a mission-based church, it's not anything significant. So from us getting married, it's interesting how God did, because you won't believe this, but basically somebody in the church said, I'm going to buy you a dress, I'm going to buy you a suit, I'm going to buy you this, I'm going to host food, I'm going to do decorations. That's how we got married. So people already understood that these are two missionaries. And we just like, we just gonna get it there in front of a pastor, have tea and coffee and get married. We okay with that. So even with him meeting my dad when we were together, he specifically asked me to arrange a meeting for him to meet my dad, and they knew each other and they had exchanged telephones and they would call each other once in a while. So after they had the first negotiation and they had decided, I don't even remember how many cows it was decided, but afterwards, before and after, I called my dad and said, listen, we are missionaries. So, especially because my dad had grace with my grandmother. My grandmother said, take my child. I don't want anything from you because I don't want you to treat her badly and then she can come back home. So I said, remember what grace you got and deal with us with that same grace, because we don't work, both of us.
He was fighting for you.
Of course.
He said that. He said, like, negotiate very well. So I went to my dad and I said, okay, I hear what you guys say. Because my dad was like, but I'm gracious even with what I'm asking, because put in mind you're an intellectual, you learned, you have went to university, we paid all these things for you. So I brought it down to that. I'm like, yes, but remember, none of us work, so I'm not taking any money to his family. So put those things in order. So my dad said, tell him to do whatever he can. So what he did is he had an amount that he arranged and he had some gifts that is just symbolic. It was just symbolic. So that's basically how we did it.
So ordinarily, did you know how many cows you were to pay?
No, I didn't know.
How many cows would you have paid in a normal setting?
In a normal setting, I would say maybe 20.
20.
Yeah, maybe 20, and comparing when anything else adds on that. Let's say if it's 20, she went to university, okay, maybe five more. She works, maybe five more. That's how they do. They just
Yeah.
keep adding things
Yeah.
on top
Yeah.
of that. If maybe I have a child, then maybe that would minus, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but because of that, I think they even requested only two, right?
I'm not so sure
Yeah,
because
it's
Pastor
yeah.
Jab was the one in negotiations.
Negotiations,
So
yeah,
I was
and they were
just
speaking so too.
yeah.
So,
So I was just only told the summary,
and he
So
was sitting in the car. He wasn't
yeah,
even in the
yeah.
negotiations,
Of
so he
course, you're
only
not
got
allowed
brought
to.
just to
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
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 So I think they had said something like two, but I was like pushing for like even less.
Yeah.
We'll come to a musical break in a moment, but would you want more cows now?
No.
We are interacting. You guys, you share a bit of your background, how you met, and also maybe how many cows you should have paid. Let's leave that aside. You earlier on, Lebo, started touching on something that makes you proud of your husband, Nemo.
Mhm.
Just share a few more things that make you proud of him.
Um, my husband has a balance of two very difficult character traits, which is boldness and humility, all in one person. That to me is like a mystery that I have ever seen in a person. Like, he doesn't shy away from something if it has to be done, and he does it with all confidence. But he has an amazing, amazing heart to learn. So he's not afraid to say, teach me if that has to be done, or let me go see how this should be done. So I still get blown by those two, seeing them together in one person. Yeah.
Have you ever told him that?
I think I have.
Have you ever heard that?
I think I have.
She does.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
So it's not news.
No, no, it's not.
How about you? What makes you proud of Lebo?
Yeah. First of all, she's a woman of faith. You know. Rewinding a little bit to the time where we got to be actually in a relationship. We started by her praying because she couldn't come back to me and say, you know what, I've changed my mind. So she prayed for 4 months. And God, if this is from you, we have to go back and talk to him. And God did, and He spoke to me. 3 following days, He spoke to me to the point where I couldn't think about something else. And I was like, God, you can't be kidding with me because she said no, she doesn't want to get married. So how is that I'm having these thoughts, And I had to go, and you know, I had to say, okay. He made noise to the point that I couldn't keep any more focused. I said, okay, I have to confirm this. I had to invite him. I had to, because she was planning to come to Mozambique as a missionary. So I had to arrange a meeting, and intend to discuss about missions. And somehow we discovered, hey, there's a change of mind here. So, anyways, what I could say, she's a woman of faith. She's a prayerful woman, and also she is the most consistent person that I know in the earth about doing things. When she decides to do something, she's very committed, of which I don't have much commitment on certain things. Well, I do on certain things, but when she says she has a program for exercising for a month to 3 months, she won't miss a day. I'm like, wow. And for me, it's a mind blowing. So she's a very special on that. And she's a woman of faith, prayer, and commitment. And she's a great support for what I do. And yeah.
So have you heard these things before from him?
He has told me about it, yeah.
Somehow I'm getting the impression that initially you didn't want to get married. Why?
Um, because of the struggle that I told you, that I had discovered that my choice of men is very poor. So I had come to a point where I was like, because there was a time when a Canadian missionary, she was saying she would come to our country for our conference, and would go to the regional conference with her in Zambia. And so it started clicking in my mind that maybe I'm called to be single because, yeah, my choice of men is very bad and there's just something that I just don't get. So when he approached me the first time, that's what I told him. I know I'm called to Mozambique. God has revealed that to me, but I'm called to be a single missionary. Yeah. So that's why, yeah, I didn't think I wanted to get married until God specifically spoke to me about it. Yes.
Yeah. As you look back,
Yeah.
sometimes you have these wonderful moments in the course of marriage.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a highlight, the mountain top experience. And you say, hey, I wish you would go back to that moment and stay on that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Any highlights from your marriage together?
And there are many highlights, but I could say definitely the day that we got married. You know, was a very special day, and till this day is a day that you know I grew up in a society where I didn't see, and actually I never been in a marriage ceremony, a wedding ceremony, until the day I got married.
Wow.
You know, so because there's not something common where I grew from, uh, and even when I started going out, I didn't have those connections that I could be like. There are things that even in our wedding ceremony, I got it wrong because I had never even watched or participated in a wedding ceremony. You know, until that day when it was my wedding ceremony with my wife. So I could say that was a big highlight, and of course, there are many other occasions which I could say like the moment like celebrating our love on day-to-day basis. It's really amazing to see how God is helping us grow into maturing as a husband and wife. You know, special that we have a mentors, we may have a, teachers that even when we have some kind of conflicts that we cannot resolve ourselves, we call them and we say, oh, this can help us. Yeah. So that's what actually uh, uh, gives us the opportunity to celebrate more than being in much conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll reserve the question for your level
Okay.
in the next episode
Okay.
for you to explain your highlights of your marriage so
Okay.
far.
Thank you.
But we don't end this program, this episode, without giving you a chance to ask each other questions.
Okay.
So let me begin with you.
Again,
Sharon,
Yes.
please
Yes.
ask her a question. Any question. Surprise her.
so would be this. In your most difficult moment, you know, happens to be in a difficult moment, you know, and maybe you are in a moment where your love tank is very low, you know, how could you communicate to me that this is what I'm facing now, and how would you propose for me to help in order to elevate your love tank stage?
Oh, man. That is a difficult question. I think mostly whenever I go through challenges with you, firstly it hits emotionally first, right? Like you're saying, the emotional love tank is low, and then one thing that thankfully I always do is pray to say like, God, I need wisdom. I don't know how to deal with this. Firstly, I don't know if it's worth bringing up because there are those things that you don't know if it's worth bringing up or so basically the first thing I always pray for wisdom to bring it, and then secondly I always look for timing. Is it the right time? And then I don't know, depending on what the gravity of whatever it is. If I feel like maybe it's something very big, then I normally just sit you down and say, look, just listen to me. Please don't interrupt. Please don't try to find a solution, but just hear me. This is what is going on right now in my mind. And then if it needs a solution, sometimes God usually just gives you solutions on the spot like that. but sometimes it's just a matter of, you know what, just be quiet about it. And
Okay.
oh, that was a deep question, man.
Do you have one?
Question
him?
for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know you're always looking for things. You love people, you love marriages, and even your book, which we haven't discussed, it's about premarital counseling. But my question would be, what would your next book be about?
Well, it will be about life after I do.
Yeah.
Life after I do, like how to live as a couple. Because we tend to see many couples living yet as singles. So especially in our society here in Mozambique, many couples we don't know the difference that you say after I do, the transition that happens, because it changes everything. But many still continue to live as though they're still singles. Okay. So, did I read the book? Yeah. Okay. This will be book number what? Or
Number one.
Number two. That
Oh, the
will
one
be
I'm asking about would be
will be
number two.
number two. What's the title of this?
It's Before I Do.
Yeah. Before I do. Yeah,
Yes,
this one
it's
is the title.
After I Do.
After I do. That's correct. Thank you very much, Geronimo Nyamahango, alongside your wife, Lebo Nyamahango. In our conversation today, part one, we leave it there for today and continue in the next episode. I'm excited to have this conversation will continue, of course. And I would like to challenge the listeners to get in touch with us, but also to join us for the next episode. For now, I would love to hear from you. Email me on info@twrafrica.org. info@twrafrica.org. You can also send your WhatsApp to +27724144475. +27 for the South African number 726414475. Well, I always look forward to hearing from listeners about the program Growing to Marriage, and I'm delighted always to hear from you via WhatsApp to +265 999 338 WhatsApp only 999 338 That's +265 999 338 Until the next episode, the next program, I am